We have a dark school, dark hallways, dark prisons, dark story, dark, dark, dark. Popcorn recap here. Today, we'll talk about a 2019 drama sci-fi thriller movie called Level 16. Before we start, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you dig the summary to support the channel. In a dormitory full of young girls, Vivien and Sophia talk about getting chosen for adoption. They line up and wash their faces to prepare for bed in front of a camera. Creepy, I know. Suddenly, Sophia drops her jar of soap so Vivien helps her despite being the next one to wash her face. Because she's late for her turn, the alarm buzzes and the girls face the wall, while a protesting Vivien is taken by two intimidating-looking men. Years later, the girls are now in their teens and they watch a video about staying clean and obedient. The TV malfunctions and Greta suggests that they should go back to their rooms. However, a jaded Vivien asserts they wait for the buzzer. The TV works again. At night, Ava asks Vivien to watch over Greta because she asks a lot of questions. Vivien brushes this off and tells her to go to sleep. Vivien marks another day on her bed. The next day, Miss Brixel congratulates the girls for completing level 15. She tells them that level 16 is the final year they'll be in Vestalis. Soon, the girls will meet their new families. Later, she moves Rita, Ava, and Vivien to Rose Hall. The three girls arrive at Rose Hall where Vivien reunites with Sophia. However, Vivien has now turned into my ex-wife and she gives me the cold shoulder. Later, the girls go through their usual routines. The other girls ask about Sophia. However, Vivien doesn't react to this. Instead, she goes to the bathroom. There, she spots Sophia just roaming casually. After using the toilet, Sophia startles Vivien as she tries to apologize for what happened in their past. Suddenly, the girls are called to assemble where they're given white dresses with their names stitched on the fabric. Apparently, they're getting closer to being adopted by a family. However, Vivien notices that Sophia isn't too excited about this. At night, Sophia can't sleep. The next day, while the girls are doing chores, Sophia warns Vivien not to take the vitamins. Suddenly, Ava interrupts them and asks for Vivien's help in changing the sheets. While walking out, Ava suspects that Sophia is unclean, but Vivien defends her former bestie and scolds Ava. Later, Vivien pretends to take her vitamins but spits them out in the bathroom. She's shocked by what she's done. At night, Vivien calls for Ava, but Sophia interrupts her and tells her that they won't wake up because of the vitamins. She mentions that if the guards come, Vivien should just pretend she's asleep. Sophia hears footsteps and runs back to her bed. Suddenly, guards enter the room with Brixel who points to Vivien. The guard brings Vivien and Olivia into a room where he creepily stares at her. Soon, two rich-looking people enter the room and Brixel shows the girls to them like pieces of furniture. Later, the old couple argues with each other but the woman picks Olivia. Vivien is brought back to the room. When Brixel leaves, Sophia tries to convince Vivien that they have to leave. However, she doesn't want to because she still believes all the lies they fed her. Suddenly, Brixel arrives again and Sophia gets selected. Vivien follows them shortly after. Suddenly, like Mr. X, Brixel arrives again prompting Vivien to hide. She tries to avoid the cameras, however, she's still seen trying to open the door. When she hears footsteps, she goes back to her room and pretends to be asleep. The guard brings back Sophia. Later, Sophia tells Vivien that it was their only chance to escape, but now the door's locked. I mean, I don't know, kid. Maybe come up with a plan first? The next day, Sophia tells Vivien that she stopped taking the vitamins since level 13. The two argue a little. Vivien walks out in anger as she still blames Sophia for her mistake in the past. Well, I guess the girls weren't taught about forgiveness here. Later, Vivien enters Dr. Miro's office. Because of a supposed fever outbreak, Miro gives Vivien a vaccine. Later, she tells him that she has sleep scabs on her back. Miro applies some ointment, butters up Vivien a little bit, and then sends her out. Later, the girls watch a movie. Some of them have already memorized the lines, so I guess they've been watching the same thing over and over. At night, Sophia tells Vivien that they never left the door unlocked since level 13. Oh, so that really was their only way out. Sophia tells Vivien that between the routines among the halls, there's a dark hour, a pause where nobody is present. Vivien suggests they get out during dark hour. She also tells Sophia that they shouldn't worry about the cameras because nothing happened to her before even though she was seen in the hallway. Vivien asserts they need the cards to access the doors. Sophia suggests they tell the other girls, but Vivien uses the punishment card and shuts down Sophia's argument. Later, Vivien talks with Miro. She asks him what Vivien Leigh, the famous actress she was named after, looked like. After learning that Miro is in charge of the films that they watch, she requests a movie with Vivien Leigh. Miro is accepting of her request and the two part ways. Meanwhile, while playing games, Veronica suddenly writhes in pain and vomits. Vivien helps her much to Ava's protest, since they're all about cleanliness here. Later, Veronica receives the vaccine, but her arm has turned into Hellboy's. Sophia sees this. Soon, Sophia asserts to Vivien that they should tell the other girls the truth. However, Vivien is opposed to this. To convince her, Sophia reveals that one of the guards who has a limp comes into their room during dark hour and touches the girls. Suddenly, a buzzer calls for an assembly. The girls watch a video about grooming when suddenly, the video stops, and Vivien Leigh appears on the screen. Later, during the doctor's visit, Vivien suddenly uses a different tone with Miro, who suspects she's not taking the vitamins. In response to this, he scolds her and gives her a concentrated dose of the vitamins. He reminds Vivien that a girl's first virtue is obedience. He claims that he's only helping her. Never trust an old man in a lab coat. Later, Vivien becomes zombie-like due to the extra dose of the vitamins. While doing the chores, Sophia notices that Vivien is high, so she comforts her. Vivien accidentally tells Sophia that she keeps track of the days by etching a mark on her headboard. Sophia tells Vivien that she has a plan to get out using the shiny cards. Unfortunately, drunk Vivien is a rowdy Vivien. She protests wildly, prompting Ava to report Vivien. Later, Brixel takes Vivien to solitary. Brixel leaves Vivien. She enters her office when suddenly, Miro kisses her from behind. Brixel complains about this Alex guy. Miro tells her that they need to restock on girls, but due to the advancements he's made, they might pick girls as old as 12 to begin with. Yikes, that's very FBI-ish of you. Brixel protests, claiming that the place is run down already. However, Miro asserts that they're working with dangerous people and that they have no choice. The two talk about Vivien and her unusual behavior. Later during dark hour, Limpty Dumpty here enters the girl's room and attempts to touch a girl. However, Sophia chokes him from behind with a makeshift rope. The two clashes and Sophia ends up in the ironing room. Limpty Dumpty overpowers her. However, she pulls an iron and hits him in the head with it. Sophia quickly steals his access card and runs with it. Limpty Dumpty wakes up. Sophia tries to free Vivien, but suddenly, the alarms sound. Sophia leaves her in solitary, much to her protest. The next morning, Brixel and the gang tell the rest of the girls that Sophia has stolen the card and has given it to one of them. Miro scolds them for being unfeminine. Miro orders that one girl is punished daily until the culprit who has the card turns herself in. Later, to ensure that the girls are taking the vitamins, Brixel hand-feeds it to them. At night, Vivien cuts herself to stay awake. Desperate to find the card, she sifts through Sophia's things to no avail. However, she accidentally finds it on her headboard. While Brixel looks for Miro in her office, she pauses in front of the mirror and hurriedly runs to the doctor's office. Meanwhile, Vivien desperately tries to open the door with the card but to no avail. She cries in despair. Suddenly, she hears footsteps outside. In a moment of clarity, Vivien finds a loose screw on the door and uses the card to unscrew the entire door. She manages to exit the room. Later, Brixel detects Vivien and asks her to enter the room. Vivien asks her where Sophia was taken. However, she is threatened by Brixel with a vitamin syringe. Brixel mentions that she'll leave the place soon. She charges at Vivien with the syringe. However, Vivien slams her head with a lamp. Vivien stabs her with the vitamin syringe and proceeds to look for Sophia. Now that's a true bestie. Vivien enters the lower chambers and hides from the guard. Soon, she sees Sophia bound. The two bros hug it out. As the two try to escape, they find a room with knives and other nasty body-mutilating stuff. As the two open the blinds, they realize that the punished girls were killed and their faces were ripped off. Sophia screams in terror and begs Vivien that they should help the other girls because if they leave, all the remaining girls will be punished. However, Vivien reasons that there are only two of them and that they can't do anything. The two decide to part ways with Vivien escaping and Sophia deciding to help the other girls. However, eventually, Vivien decides to wait for Sophia while she helps the others escape. Oh, now you don't want to leave anyone. Sophia gets down and tries to help the other girls by pretending she was ordered by Brixel. They come willingly with her. Meanwhile, Vivien sees an open door and hides from one of the guards. Vivien eventually finds the control room where she learns that the girls are groomed so that their faces can be used for rejuvenating the faces of rich, evil women. She learns that the vaccines were done to match the customer's DNA. Vivien cries in despair. Meanwhile, Sophia tries to convince the rest of the girls, however they don't believe her. Vivien arrives with Brixel and tells the truth, that they are being farmed for their skin. Stupid Ava here still tries to justify the school's actions, but Vivien scolds her. Sophia and Vivien interrogate Brixel until they realize that she had scars around her face. The girls learn that Brixel was a sponsor and had her face replaced as well. Later, they take Brixel into solitary and try to escape through the roof. However, stupid Ava triggers the alarms. The girls scramble outside. Suddenly, a guard attacks Sophia, but Vivien manages to push him over the roof, killing him. As the girls run away, they get chased by guards and Sophia gets shot. Eventually, they get cornered in a room and Miro arrives. He tries to convince them, however, Vivien is not receptive. Miro reveals that he has invested 16 years of his life for Vivien's face. Learning about this, Vivien smiles and takes a knife to cut her face. The two thugs with Miro tell him that their boss wants to see him. The next morning, the police arrive and they find Sophia and Vivien. Suddenly, it rains, and for the first time, the two finally taste freedom.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.